You are being activated for a divine mission. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to live the best possible life that you can live in every single moment. Doing that for yourself is the greatest gift that you can give every single person around you. You may have been feeling lately that you've had certain gifts coming online. You may have been feeling lately that you are mastering your emotions in a whole new way and recognizing ways that you have been growing. Well, today's overall energy is telling me that this is not only creating an impact in your life and the life of those around you, but it is also impacting the entire planet as well as the universe and the galaxy. I know that that sounds so far out, but hear me out. Think about it. We often don't know the power that we have, and we don't know how far reaching that power can be until we get further down the journey. And for such a long time, psychologists and neurologists have been saying human beings only understand or only use 10% of their brains. Well, I believe that we are going through a period of activation where we are beginning to remember just how powerful we are. Hello, my beautiful solopreneurs. I am so excited to see you today. Welcome. Thank you for being here. By watching this reading, you are showing up for yourself today and strengthening your connection to your own inner wisdom. And that has the power to transform every area of your life. This isn't about predicting your future. It's about helping you lead yourself with greater clarity, confidence, and trust. I'm Kristin Nicole Lobdell, and I believe that self-leadership is the foundation of a meaningful life and a sustainable business. Today, I am going to guide you through my K&L Co. signature self-leadership spread. It's a 5-card framework designed to help you regulate, validate, witness the deeper message unfolding, integrate the guidance into your next steps, and receive wisdom to help you along the way. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own inner guidance above all else. If you'd like personalized guidance, I'd be honored to support you with a private intuitive guidance session, and you can book that link using the link in the description. And don't forget to download my free guide to asking better questions, powerful questions, to help you get even more out of your tarot and oracle card readings. That is also available at the link in the description. So what was I saying here? So the overall energy, okay, I am getting like major like galactic like power energy coming from this. And there's a reason for it. It's because I was guided to use the Star Seed Oracle deck today by Rebecca Campbell. I love this deck, and it always reminds me of my greater mission, like my planetary mission, right? It makes me zoom out and think about, okay, how are the actions and the behaviors that I am doing every day actually really serving this great purpose, right? This universe-oriented purpose. And I truly believe that we are meant to partner in co-creation with the power that creates worlds. I like to call that power God. I like to call that power the Lord. I like to call that power the universe. And I believe that ascended masters like Jesus are here to help us with that every single day, along with those goddess energies I was mentioning from yesterday's reading. But so I will link Rebecca's deck in the description. It's an incredible deck to have. But the card that I pulled was the star bathing card. And it says light body, crystal grid, transmission, activation. And so if you're seeing this message, you're probably being activated in some way. I know I have felt, if you notice, I have just started posting these collective energy readings as of the beginning of July because I felt like I became activated. I've been reading cards for several years for myself, but I never even thought about doing it for other people until just recently. And so I really truly resonate with this activation energy. So let me read to you what Rebecca wanted us to know about this card. The stars are constantly showering emanations onto the crystal grid of Earth. When things are in balance, the planet also sends information back up to the stars. Um, Many star seeds have come to Earth to at this time to help shift the planet vibrationally, to activate the ancient codes of wisdom that humanity has forgotten. And all of that information is stored in the crystalline grid. If you pulled this card, you may be being called to begin working with stars and the crystalline grid of the earth. Some people believe that the crystalline grid of the earth anchors divine cosmic frequencies onto the planet. You may be guided to journey to particular places on earth to unlock these cosmic codes with your presence. You may also be interested in practicing a practice called star bathing. And she has a star bathing meditation on her website. So I'll link her website for you guys in case you want to do that star bathing meditation. And I also feel called if you guys want to do a meditation together, um, let me know in the comments because I'd be more than happy to coordinate that. I could create an event and invite us all to it so that we can do it together. This card commonly arises because you're here to connect with the crystalline grid of the earth, either in your hometown or by traveling to other places without quite knowing why. It also can mean that your light body, the energy body in its highest form, is being activated. If this resonates, take things extra slow in order to integrate this change of vibration. So, yeah, take things extra slow. Yesterday's guidance was that we needed to rest. And so, I think that that is part, I think that if I'm reading for this collective, right? If you guys are the same people that I was reading for yesterday, just a continuation of being mindful that sometimes we need to take it slow because this is, this the changes that are happening inside of us are a lot bigger than what we think they are. Um, and I believe that the more that we continue to follow these intuitive nudges and act and share our gifts, I think that the more will be revealed to us in terms of, how we are actually influencing the overall energies on the planet and supporting each other on such a grander scale than we even realize. But I also want to share that, you don't have to do, it doesn't mean that your mission can be carried out in your day-to-day life, just by showing up and doing your job with a smile, that is big. And so we need to kind of ground ourselves here because these ideas can be very, far out there. And so we need to reel it back in and just kind of come back down to earth here and look at, what are the practical ways that we can, show up in a big way and share our light. And so let's get into the tarot. In the regulate position, I have the King of Cups. The King of Cups represents emotional mastery. And so what this tells me is that you guys have been doing the inner work. This guy knows how to balance out his head and his heart. He knows that the best way for him to give is by taking care of himself first and then giving from his overflow. And so in the regulate position, this is grounding you right now. You're recognizing this. You're getting this lesson. And so you're definitely picking up on the idea that you need to put that oxygen mask on first. And so let's recognize this and celebrate you for that. In the validate position, this is what you are feeling that deserves to be honored. This is generosity and giving and receiving. This is the Six of Pentacles, the Six of Coins. And so generosity, as I mentioned, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mention that yet. Generosity does not necessarily have to mean that you're giving away tons of money. If finances are not where you're feeling extra overflow right now, there may be other ways that you can give and receive. But because this is in the validate position, this is what you're feeling that deserves to be honored. because your gifts are coming online, you're wanting to know how to share them in what's the best way that you can share them. And so that's really beautiful because we need your gifts, right? Your gifts, you are given your gifts for a reason. They are meant to be shared. You're given them because they have a purpose to fulfill. And we want to allow you, and you really want to allow that energy to flow through you and so that you can fulfill it. But I'm getting, but the cards are showing me that that is exactly what you are doing. So, what is actually happening beneath the surface? This is the witness position. We have the Seven of Swords. And so, the Seven of Swords can represent deception and lies, maybe even betrayal. But more often than not, what this points to is the way that we lie to ourselves. Okay. And so, it could be somebody else lying to you, but maybe there's certain things that you've been lying to yourself about, right? But it's also about acting strategically. So, something that kind of comes up here and if I look at the rest of the spread, if we're talking about giving and receiving, so for example, a way that you could deceive yourself in in relation to giving and receiving is a lot of us have been conditioned to believe that it is better to give than to receive. Now, that might be true because it does uplift us and it does fulfill us to give, but we have to take it within context, right? If we don't have an overflow to give from, then it's not better to give than receive. Within context, we need to recognize if we are at a deficit in some area of our life, then we probably shouldn't be giving from that area of our life right now. Instead, we need to be more strategic with our giving, right? We need to think about, okay, I can't give of my money right now, but I can give of my time. I have an abundance of time. For me lately, I might not be able to be as generous with my money at the moment. But what I can be generous with is these readings. These readings are something that I have a lot of overflow to give from. And so that can be a strategic way for me to be giving of my time. So be careful not to lie to yourself about, oh, you always have to do something in a certain way, is what I'm getting from that. So, that could be emerging for you. You could be figuring that out. You could be figuring out like, okay, how to use your inner guidance to show you like, okay, your inner discernment, right? Of like, where is the best way for me to give right now? And it's okay for me not to give in certain ways. um until you're ready to give, right? So then in our what's your most aligned next step, we have the Eight of Wands. I'm sorry. Yeah. It is what is your most aligned next step, excuse me. Yes, this is in the guidance position. So this is fast moving energy. So you are being guided to act quickly, right? Make swift change. So if there is some sort of underlying belief that you've been telling yourself, quickly change that. How can you look at it differently? And one of the ways that we can look at it differently, if say that that is the belief that you're trying to change, that it's better to give than receive, but you don't have a lot of, some sort of resource to give. Um, the most aligned next step is to quickly change that. Recognize I am giving, I'm holding back and giving in this area, but I am, increasing my giving in this other area so that I can give more in the future, right? You're setting yourself up to be able to show up bigger and better in the future. And that is a really smart way to navigate through life, right? Um, and what happens, so you might even receive new opportunities to do that. New opportunities to do that might come in relatively quickly now that we are kind of tuning into this energy and working with it. Um, and in the what shifts when you embody this? This is the integrate position. So, you open up yourself up to infinite possibilities. So you move forward into your next adventure. You're called to adventure again, and you get to move on to even brighter horizons and your next challenge. And so, yeah, this is the guidance that I have for you guys today. Um, yeah, I mean, okay, the next adventure, let's bring it back to the overall energy here. Um, we receive more information about, what our next steps are in our greater mission, right? Um, so yes, I trust that you found this message to be helpful. Thank you guys so much for being here. I've been loving reading your comments, and thank you for tuning in. And until next time, sending you so much love.